We give their designated vial. So what we normally do is to work on the bee from number 1 to number 6. And what we're going to do is to pour the pesticide in this feeding jar.
Then the corn syrup is added, and the jar is placed inside the hive for the bees to feed on. In the past, a bacteria called Bt was used to protect genetically modified corns from pests, but the insects built up tolerance over time. When Bt corn started losing effect, a sudden switch was made to neonicotinoids in 2005. That harvest was first used to make corn syrup containing it later that year, which became widely available to beekeepers starting 2006.
And that's what we had, the CCD in the winter of 2006-2007. So we use this timeline as part of the evidence to support our hypothesis that neonicotinoid used to be not present in high fructose corn syrup because of change of pesticides that lead to the contamination of high fructose corn syrups that lead to CCD.
Yeah, how are things going out back?
Dr. Liu is visiting David Lucan, who's the only eyewitness of CCD taking place real-time in the world. The study hives are located on his property, and he sees them from his house every day. It all happened on a cold winter day in 2011.
I'm walking by these hives, and suddenly it was like this blast of bees came out, but they were all dead over here.
They come all the way to this way?
Right, so just about here, because there was a path here, so just funneled out like this, just thousands of dead bees on the snow.
Something had short-circuited their hardwired instincts for winter survival. They voluntarily left the hive in freezing temperatures to their deaths. It's the hallmark of CCD. It was as though 60,000 bees committed mass suicide. Neonicotinoids are systemic pesticides. They are mainly used to coat seeds or injected into the soil, and the chemical is absorbed and distributed to every part of the plant. No matter where the pest bites, it will have the pesticide. Likewise, no matter which part humans eat, it will be there, and washing or peeling can't get rid of it.
The question is always in my mind is, and then how about human? Because we all exposed to neonicotinoid, no matter who you are. In Taiwan, in the United States, if you look at the residue in the food that we commonly eat, we always had those kind of levels. So what would be the implication to human health as a result of sublethal exposure to neonicotinoid?
According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, over 50% of food products contain residues. Humans ingest a similar amount compared to bees in terms of body weight. We cannot see their effects right away, but they may be causing minute damage to our bodies. At the National Taiwan University, researchers are looking at the problem from a different angle. These bee larvae are fed neonicotinoid pesticides called imidacloprid. Ranging from 10 to 50 parts per billion, it mirrors the small amounts they'd be exposed to in the environment.
We're feeding these larvae different amounts of imidacloprid. After they mature into adult bees, they'll look totally normal. The key difference is they'll be dumber than usual. We'll use them to conduct a variety of experiments to make comparisons with bees that haven't been poisoned.
Neonicotinoids work just like the nicotine in cigarettes. They're stimulants that excite the nervous system. In the case of pests, small doses overwhelm their system, causing paralysis and death. The tiny residues don't kill the bees right away, but have unexpected repercussions. Professor of Entomology Young-In Chung is the mastermind behind the experiments at National Taiwan University. Here, they're getting ready to track the bees' flight pattern by radar.
Through our experiments, we discovered the bees show very strange behaviors. For example, they become very anxious and restless. They also fly erratically and sometimes can't trace their way back home. Right now, imidacloprids are being used all over the world, including Taiwan. When bees are exposed to small doses of them, they don't die right away, but they become abnormal. So when they leave the hive to collect nectar, they get lost and fail to return home.
Tiny sensor chips that give off radar signals are fixed on their back. Ultraviolet ray is used to dry the glue instantly. They're so light, they don't affect the bees' normal activity. Researchers set out the feeder with sugar water. The bees will learn the location within a few minutes. The distance is gradually increased until they reach the desired length of 30 meters.
Usually, the bees spend under 300 seconds or 5 minutes to make one round trip. That's the baseline for normal worker bees that haven't been poisoned. But if it was exposed to small doses of imidacloprid, this becomes much longer. The higher the dosage, the longer the duration, and it sometimes fails to return.
After the radar test, Professor Young goes in search of the missing bees.
This bee shouldn't be here at all. She should be over there, near the feeder. It was one of the bees that was fed imidacloprids and tracked by radar. She's completely broken the normal flight pattern.
The bee's abnormal behavior is caused by sublethal exposure, as opposed to acute poisoning, which would kill them right away. But they must track large numbers of them to get reliable data. So they devised an ingenious solution, the world's first tattooed bees. Live bees are chilled and put in an unconscious state for ease of handling.
We are going to secure the bees on this frame. We make sure each of them are fine. We first reach the feet and then the head. So these have been secured. The next step is to shave the hair follicles of their backs. This is to prevent the hair from getting in the way. We then paint their backs. The main purpose is to create a smooth surface to etch the tattoos.
Each bee has a different pattern burned onto its back. Every day, a bee will leave the colony many times to forage for nectar. The length of time it's away can reveal valuable hints about its condition. An infrared gate installed on the entrance of the hive will record their activity. This becomes a medical transcript for each individual bee. But they must first establish the baseline for normal bees that haven't been poisoned for comparison. Here, a team is installing an IT tracking system. Often used by the military, this is the first application ever for entomology in the world. Sensors pick up the arrival and departure of the bees.
At the same time, we also record data on various conditions in and around the hive. All these information gets sent to the router over there, which automatically beams large amounts of data back to Taipei real time over the normal cell phone network.
While there's limited research on the effects of pesticide on bees, there's hardly any on humans. But we know it's affecting us.
If you look at the statistics from the past 20 to 30 years, you'll not only find that all sorts of diseases have been on the rise across society, but they're also occurring at a younger age. This is telling us that there must be something we're doing to nature that's causing people to get sicker.
If sublethal doses of pesticide work their poison on bees over months, it takes years, if not decades, before the effects show up in humans. We're exposed to it every day. It doesn't kill us or make us sick right away, but it slowly erodes our body. At Harvard University, an organic farmers market is held every Tuesday afternoon.
$5, please.
Dr. Liu is shopping for dinner.
Okay, but you still have to grow under the sun, right? Yeah. Okay. 你看这两个红椒就很明显的。
If you look at these two bell peppers, you can tell pesticides weren't used. They're very different in size and color because they're grown under natural conditions. They're free from pesticides and highly nutritious.
而且它没有农药。
Due to growing awareness about chemicals, many people have become interested in organic food. They're grown without the use of any insecticides, herbicides, or chemical fertilizers. But the pesticide habit is difficult to break.
如果说你是完全用有机的方
There's
式
huge costs in time and effort to grow produce organically. It's a big burden because you have to tend to them every day. It's much easier to spray your entire fields with pesticides.
那相对来讲简单多了。
Pesticides help put cheap and bountiful produce on supermarket shelves. We're hooked on their benefits, but ignoring their downsides. Why should we care about the tiny residues if it's not killing us or making us sick? Or should we?
在公共卫生的角度来讲的话，
For public health, we're most concerned with these minute exposures to pesticides. That's the kind we're involved in every day.
每天暴露到的剂量。
The reason why it's so hard to find out what it does is because it takes a very long time for their effects to show up in our bodies. Sometimes a decade, sometimes 2 decades.
这个时间会拉得很长。
Right now, there are hardly any research on their effects on humans.
科学研究上是非常非常少。
One of the very few studies in the world being conducted on humans is run by the UC Berkeley School of Public Health. Chamacos, the Center for Health Assessment of Mothers and Children of Salinas, looks at the impact of pesticide on pregnant women and their children. In 1999 to 2000, the program enrolled 601 pregnant women living in the agricultural Salinas Valley. After birth, the children were followed to measure exposure to pesticides to see how that affected their growth and development. Professor Brenda Eskenazi is the co-founder and director of Chamacos. She's on a field visit with her local colleague to check on pesticide use in the area.
One of the reasons we picked it is, of all of the agricultural valleys, it's one of the ones that's most intense in terms of the amount of pesticides per square acre.
That houses.
Known as the salad bowl of the world, Salinas grows over 30% of the world's lettuce. Here, farm workers are harvesting cauliflowers. They're exposed to pesticides when they breathe the fumes or touch the residue on the surface.
They use organophosphates on the broccoli as far as you know, I think as far as I know. But when would they have applied it?
It depends on probably pest.
Do you think that in most cases for broccoli, it's a ground application or is it air application?
I think it's an air application.
For broccoli?
Air application.
Organophosphate pesticides are widely used around the world. They kill pests by blocking critical nerve functions. Today, 2 girls from the program are visiting the field office in Salinas.
So,